Welcome back to TimeCoins, where every coin tells a story. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most meaningful pieces in modern French history, the one Franc coin of 1960, a small but powerful symbol of rebirth for an entire nation. To understand this coin, we have to travel back in time to the years after World War II, when France, like much of Europe, was struggling to rebuild its economy, restore confidence, and redefine its identity. After the war ended in 1945, France faced enormous challenges: factories destroyed, infrastructure broken, inflation rising fast, and the old franc losing its value day by day. By the 1950s, ordinary French citizens were carrying huge stacks of paper money for even the simplest purchases. The franc, once a proud symbol of national strength, had become weak and unstable. France needed change, not only politically but also economically. That's where Charles de Gaulle enters the story. A hero of the Free French forces during World War II, de Gaulle returned to power in 1958 during a time of political crisis. He immediately recognized that the old monetary system was broken. Prices had been rising for decades, wages couldn't keep up, and the national currency had lost credibility. De Gaulle believed that France needed a complete reset, a strong, stable coin that could once again command respect at home and abroad. This vision gave birth to the new franc, or nouveau franc. Introduced officially on January 1, 1960, the new franc replaced the old franc at a rate of 1. New franc equals 100 old francs. It wasn't just a mathematical conversion. It was a symbolic act of renewal. The French government wanted its people to see this new currency as a fresh start, something clean and strong after years of economic difficulty. The one franc coin became one of the first coins of this new era, small, simple, and shining with hope. The 1961 franc coin was minted at the famous Money de Paris Mint, one of the oldest operating mints in the world, founded more than 1,000 years ago. The mint's mark, a cornucopia, the horn of plenty, can still be found on the reverse of the coin, a symbol of abundance and prosperity. Each coin was carefully struck in nickel, giving it a bright silvery shine and a durability meant to represent the strength of the French Republic itself. The designer of the coin, Henri Lagrefoule, was a celebrated French sculptor known for his elegant classical style. He gave the one franc coin a look that balanced simplicity with deep meaning. On the obverse side, he placed the serene face of Marianne, the personification of the French Republic. Marianne had long been a national icon. She appeared in paintings, sculptures, and even government buildings. To the French, she represented liberty, reason, and the humanist values of the revolution: freedom, equality, and fraternity. Look closely at her face on the 1960 coin, calm yet strong, crowned with a Phrygian cap, the same symbol worn by freed slaves in ancient Rome. That cap, throughout French history, has come to represent freedom from oppression. Lagrefoule's Marianne looks toward the future, as if leading France into a new era of stability and hope. On the reverse side, the coin features two delicate branches, an olive branch and a wheat ear, intertwined around the denomination 1 franc and the year 1960. The olive branch stands for peace, while the wheat symbolizes the prosperity of the land and the hard work of farmers, the backbone of the nation's economy. Together they reflect France's desire for both peace and progress in the years following the devastation of war. Encircling the design are the immortal words, Liberté, Égalité, Fraternité, meaning liberty, equality, brotherhood. These words are not just a motto. They're the very heart of French identity. Every citizen, every institution, every coin carries this message as a constant reminder of the Republic's founding ideals. When the 1961 franc coin entered circulation, it was more than just money, it was a statement. The French government launched public campaigns to educate citizens about the new currency, explaining that old prices would be divided by 100. At first, many people found it confusing, but soon the new franc became part of daily life. Its stable value helped restore confidence both inside France and in international markets. By the early 1960s, the country's economy began to grow rapidly. This period came to be known as Les Trente Glorieuses, Or the 30 Glorious Years? 3 decades of unprecedented economic expansion, industrial growth, and social progress. The new franc played an important role in this transformation, giving the French economy a foundation strong enough to compete with the rest of Europe. As the new currency began circulating, the 19601 franc coin quickly became one of the most recognizable pieces in France's economy. People carried it in their pockets daily, from Paris to Marseille, from Lyon to the smallest rural villages. It was the coin of everyday life, used for a baguette, a newspaper, or a metro ticket. Yet behind this simple piece of metal lay centuries of French artistry and symbolism. The Paris Mint, known in French as Monnaie de Paris, was responsible for producing millions of these coins. Each one was crafted with precision, bearing the cornucopia mint mark, a small symbol representing abundance and prosperity, fitting, since the new franc aimed to bring economic plenty. Alongside this, you could often find a privy mark, identifying the chief engraver at the mint during that period. These small details, often overlooked by the public, are treasures for collectors today because they help trace the coin's exact origin and production period. The composition of the coin was pure nickel, giving it a silvery appearance but also great durability. Nickel was chosen because it resisted wear and corrosion, perfect for a coin meant to circulate widely. Each one franc coin had a diameter of 24 millimeters, a weight of about 6 grams, and a smooth, plain edge. The simplicity of the design reflected the practical, modern spirit of the 1960s France, a country rebuilding, modernizing, and looking forward. If you examine the obverse or front side of the coin under good light, you'll see the fine craftsmanship of Henry Le Griffel's engraving. Marianne's expression is soft but dignified. The flow of her hair and the delicate lines of her cap are carved with classical beauty reminiscent of ancient Greek and Roman art. Le Griffel, being a sculptor, treated coin design as a miniature sculpture, something alive, not just decorative. His Marianne became a new face for a new France, a face that would appear on French coins for the next 4 decades. The reverse side carries a minimalist yet powerful layout. The words Republique Francaise are absent. Here, the coin instead focuses on values rather than words. The olive and wheat branches gently frame the numeral 1, as if peace and prosperity themselves are supporting the nation's new foundation. The year 1960 proudly sits at the bottom, marking the first year of the new franc era. In terms of minting, over 40 million pieces of the 1960 1 franc coin were produced in the Paris Mint alone, ensuring there were enough for nationwide circulation. Despite being common, the first-year issue became iconic for what it represented, not rarity, but renewal. For collectors today, the 1961 franc isn't particularly rare, but in excellent condition. It carries sentimental and historical value that far exceeds its face worth. The value for collectors depends on condition, known as grade in numismatic terms. Coins that have been well circulated and show wear may be worth just a few cents, but uncirculated pieces, especially those still shining with their original luster, can sell for a few dollars or even more, depending on demand. Proof versions or coins struck with special finishes are much rarer and sought after by collectors of modern French coins. But what truly makes the 19601 franc coin special isn't its monetary value, it's what it stood for. This coin was the face of an entire nation's rebirth. It represented a people's determination to move forward from the hardships of war and economic instability into a new era of confidence and prosperity. Every detail, from the elegant Marianne to the peaceful olive branches, carried that message of hope and stability. Throughout the 1960s, the new franc quickly gained trust among the French population. Wages stabilized, prices became predictable, and France regained its financial independence on the world stage. This newfound confidence helped strengthen France's position in the European Economic Community, the early version of what would later become the European Union. By the 1970s, the 1 franc coin had become a part of daily life and culture. French children saved them in small piggy banks, travelers carried them across Europe, and artists used them in jewelry and crafts. It was a humble yet beloved symbol, simple, reliable, and familiar. As years went by, subtle changes were made in later issues of the coin, small adjustments in font, size, and finish, but the spirit remained the same. The 1960 issue, however, remained the most meaningful, as it marked the first step in France's modern currency story. For numismatists, people who study and collect coins, the 1961 franc holds a special place. It's not rare in quantity, but rich in meaning. It tells a story of transformation, leadership, and the power of design to express national pride. Many collectors keep this coin as a symbol of post-war recovery and mid-20th century art. The 1 franc coin continued to be minted through the 1980s and 1990s, witnessing several historical milestones, from France's economic rise to its deeper integration with Europe. But by the late 1990s, a new chapter was on the horizon, the euro. As the 20th century moved forward, the 1 franc coin continued to circulate across France, witnessing every change, every reform, and every era of hope and challenge. From 1960 to 2001, this coin passed through countless hands: farmers, students, artists, soldiers, and travelers, all unknowingly carrying a small piece of their country's identity. By the 1980s, the design of the 1 franc coin had become one of France's most beloved symbols. It appeared in movies, advertisements, and photographs capturing everyday life. It was more than money, it was part of French culture. Parents gave it to their children as pocket change, and for decades it jingled in purses and pockets, telling quiet stories of ordinary days. However, as Europe's unity began to grow stronger, discussions started about creating a single European currency that could bring all member nations together economically. France, being one of the founding members of the European Economic Community, played a leading role in this vision. The idea was to make trade easier, strengthen political ties, and present Europe as a single economic power. In 1999, the euro was introduced electronically, and by 2002, France officially replaced the franc with the euro as its national currency. After more than 640 years of use, the French franc, and with it, the 1 franc coin, said its final goodbye. Citizens exchanged their coins and notes for euros, and by February 2002, the franc was no longer legal tender. For many, this transition was emotional. The franc had been a part of French life for centuries, linked to personal memories, family histories, and national milestones. But progress demanded change, and the euro became a symbol of unity and cooperation across Europe. Still, for collectors and history lovers, coins like the 1960 1 franc remain priceless reminders of the past, physical links to an era of renewal and confidence. Let's talk about collector value and rarity. While millions of 1961 franc coins were minted, their condition determines their value. Most circulated coins with scratches and wear are common and worth around 20 cents to $1 US. However, uncirculated or proof condition coins, still shiny as the day they were made, can fetch between $5 to $15 US, depending on demand. Coins sealed in original mint sets are even more desirable. For passionate collectors, the true worth isn't in the money, but in the story, the legacy of a coin that marked the rebirth of a nation. Some fascinating facts about this coin. The 1961 franc was the first coin issued under the new franc system, making it historically significant. The Paris Mint's cornucopia mark appears just below the denomination, symbolizing abundance. Its designer, Henri Le Griffel, also created sculptures for the French National Museum and UNESCO buildings. The phrase Liberté, Égalité, Fraternité first appeared on French coins during the Second Republic in 1848 and has been used ever since as a timeless reminder of unity. Even after the euro arrived, many French people kept their old franc coins as souvenirs, tokens of pride and nostalgia. Collectors often say that the 19601 franc coin isn't valuable because of rarity, it's valuable because of meaning. It's the start of something new, the coin that carried France from post-war hardship to modern prosperity. When you hold one, you're not just holding metal. You're holding a story that began over 60 years ago, a story of vision, reform, and national pride. Today, you can still find these coins in antique markets, coin shops, and online auctions. Some are framed, some are preserved in albums, and some are passed down in families as keepsakes. They're tiny time machines, carrying memories of an era when France reinvented itself and stood tall once again on the global stage. And as collectors and history lovers, we don't just see a coin, we see art, history, and humanity engraved in metal. That's what makes numismatics so beautiful. Each coin whispers the voice of its time. And the 1960, one franc whispers proudly, "I was the beginning of something new." So, if you ever come across this coin, don't just see it as an old piece of money. See it as a story, the story of France's rebirth. Hold it in your hand, and imagine the world it came from, the cafes of 1960s Paris, the factories rebuilding the nation, the artists dreaming of a brighter tomorrow. This small silver coin witnessed it all. Before we end, here's something truly inspiring. When France introduced the new franc, many people feared it wouldn't succeed. But within just a few years, it restored confidence and became one of Europe's strongest currencies. That's the lesson this coin gives us. With courage, reform, and belief, even the smallest change can create a great transformation. And that's what makes the 1960 France 1 franc coin such a treasure, a timeless piece of history, art, and resilience. Thank you so much for watching TimeCoins, where every coin tells a story. If you enjoyed learning about this historic French coin, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to TimeCoins for more amazing journeys into the world of coins and history from around the globe. Because here on TimeCoins, it's not just about collecting, it's about connecting with the stories each coin holds. See you in the next video, and until then, keep exploring, keep collecting, and keep the history alive.